You are listening to audio from the Decidedly podcast. This episode is a highlight clip from this week's full episode. To listen in on the complete conversation, see the show notes for the link to the complete show. You can help us out by leaving us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. We appreciate every bit of your support. I'm Morgan McKittrick, your producer, and this is Decidedly.
Buying the house or waiting, under contract on a house and crippled with anxiety, whether I should go through with it or not. How do people make huge decisions like this without freaking out and losing control? It's like buy now at a lower locked-in interest rate and have the possibility of market crash, or wait and don't have a market crash and higher interest rates and never be a home buyer.
This is a good question. Now, you've got a big choice that you're making and you're feeling anxiety about that choice. That anxiety alone is not an indicator of whether the choice is good or bad. I would say that if you're making a choice as big as purchasing a house, which it sounds like might be your first house, and you have anxiety around that, that means that you're at least someone who weighs the gravity of the situation, right? If you are going to buy your first house and you're not anxious at all, yeah, go ahead, I'm going to do it.
You're an idiot who makes bad decisions.
You're making bad choices. Right. If it's crippling anxiety, which is what you said, and that to me indicates that deep down you do know that this is probably not the right choice. If you're crippled with anxiety, then how can you make the choice? How can you do something?
Well, the choice is clear. If they're crippled with that anxiety, don't do it.
If you're crippled with anxiety, don't do it.
If this is something your body, your sense, your soul is telling you, don't do this, then don't do it.
Oh, man. When I was in college, I was in the Corps of Cadets at A&M, and everyone there, wants to join the Army or the military more broadly. I was in the kind of the Army side of the group, but it felt like everyone who was there knew since they were a little kid that they wanted to be an Army officer. And that was not me. I did not grow up that way. I did not dream that for myself. And over time, I got told, oh, you'd be very good. You'd be a good officer. You'd be so good at this. You should do it. You should do it. You should do it. And so finally I go and I talk with the recruiter and I'm getting my paperwork ready and I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go enlist in the Army. And now I have great respect for the people who make that choice for their life. I have people in my family who spent years, made a career out of serving in the armed forces. I'm very thankful for their sacrifice. I learned quickly that it is not for me because I had crippling anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about what my life would look like. And I said, that is not what I want. That is not for me. How can I do this? This is not the right choice. That's revealing, right? Having that crippling anxiety, that's telling you something. You can't ignore that. So it's not a choice. It's not a how choice. It's not a choice on, market might go up or interest rates might go this way. Or no. You get into that. You're making a market timing decision, which is bound to fail eventually. I would say listen to your intuition. If you're wondering, how am I going to afford this? Oh, this might be a little too much of a step. Maybe this is too much money and it's causing you to lose sleep. It's probably because it's true. It's not your responsibility right now to worry about what's going to happen with the housing market or the interest rate environment. If it's in the works for you to own a home, you can figure it out later, right? You can save money to make that happen later. You can find a house that's an appropriate value later in life. I don't think your options are truly buy this house that I can't afford and that I'm going to lose sleep, worrying about, and that I think I might lose because I can't pay the mortgage, or never own a home ever again in my life. Those are not your two options. Take time to build your finances up so that you can confidently make this big decision. And then you'll feel a lot different in a few years.
Yeah, I think one of the things when you look at big decisions, they are by definition between the gray and the gray, right? I remember, I think it was maybe President Obama said this, is that all of the questions that go to his desk are the difficult questions because they would have been answered by some other agency or somebody down the line before. And so everything is the choice between gray and gray or bad and bad or, something like that. And certainly a big financial decision like buying a house is a decision worthy of exploring. And I think I would go back to the why and the premise why you buy in the house in the first place.
Yeah.
I would seek wise counsel on this. And that is not the real estate agent, and it is not the mortgage broker.
No,
people who
it's
have
not
a
the
stake.
people who will make money if you buy this house.
Right. And I would go through sort of the assumption that you did it, the
Ignatius way.
Ignatius way. And that is run your financial life in a way as if you'd bought the house. What does your cash flow look
good
like?
Point. If you spend a few months and go, okay, well, this mortgage payment's going to be $3,000. Okay, so save $3,000. See if you can do that. Act like you have the house. Behave like you own the house, right? Behave as if you already own the house and see what happens.
I had this years ago with some clients who came in, and I gave that very advice. They were looking to buy a bigger house, and I said, all right, well, we did the math, and it was going to be, I don't know, something about $3,500 a month more. I said, all right, well, what we're going to do is for the next few months, we're going to save $3,500. We're going to put that aside because that's going to be your increase, but also the increase for the increased utilities, taxes, the maintenance, the water bill, all of this kind of stuff. And we're going to save that every month. And immediately they were like, oh, I don't know if we could do that.
Well, then there you go.
I'm like, there you go.
Congrats.
What are we doing then?
So here's my advice then is speak with someone who's been down this road before, who does not have a financial interest in you purchasing this house. Get their input based on your unique situation, not whether or not it's a good idea to buy houses right now, right? Your unique situation based on how much money you have, what you're earning, what you're saving, etc. And then act as if you own the house. Save your money and spend your money as if you already own that house, and you'll know very quickly.
Thanks for making the great decision to listen in to this week's episode highlight. If you want more of what you just heard, see the show notes for the full episode. As always, for the latest decision-making tips, find us on decidedlypodcast.com or on Instagram @decidedlypodcast. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter from the link in the show notes. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review as well. We read all of your comments, so if you learned some decision-making tips today, let us know. Until next time, this is Decidedly. Insights, advice, and comments provided by Sean Smith, Sanger Smith, and speakers identified as part of the Decidedly podcast should not be considered recommendations. Speakers not identified as members of Decidedly are expressing their opinion, and their statements should not be construed as reflecting the views of the Decidedly team. This podcast is produced solely for informational purposes, not personalized advice.